While you were watching something else, and it's clear what Harold and I were watching this weekend, there was some baseball news, so let's bring you up to speed on Monday after Thanksgiving with something from Jon Heyman. Sonny Gray, the Cardinals are expected to finalize a deal today via league sources.
Oh, man, this is terrible news.
It's not. It's good news for the Cardinals, a team that really needed some starting pitching depth. They bring, they bring some veterans back into the fray early in the offseason, and John Mozeliak and the Cardinals are making it very clear that they're not satisfied with a ranking last year where only 2 teams in the National League had fewer quality starts.
Yeah.
Sonny Gray was one of the big tickets out there. We don't have any information on the contractual arrangement here because it's going to be announced today. I'm thinking no fewer than 3 years for a guy who had one of the best seasons of his career in 2023.
It's a good land. And Sonny's at a point in his career where he's really matured, developed, knows what he's trying to do and what he wants to do when he goes to the mound. And that's a great place to be. He's healthy, and he's mixing in an assortment of pitches. I think the other thing, too, he's had so much different teaching. Like in Oakland, he was first up front with the whole Billy Beane sabermetric movement after, he was that next wave. Mm-hmm. Sonny Gray was the guy. Then he went from there to had to go to New York, and now you're on the big stage. Then he found himself back again in Minnesota, where he really
Reds in there, too.
And the Reds in there, too. So, he's been well-traveled, and I think now he's going to fit in nicely with the Cardinals.
Yeah, so Sonny Gray reportedly headed to St. Louis. They bring in Kyle Gibson. They bring back Lance Lynn.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's a very different-looking.
Well, they didn't have a starting rotation that stood up,
Yeah.
And they needed that.
Right, that's right.
So they need to get things turned around.
All right, so Sonny Gray looked like potentially off the board well in advance of the winter meetings. This guy's off the board, too. Kenta Maeda pitched in only 100 innings last year with the Minnesota Twins. He missed 2022 recovering from Tommy John surgery. Yet still, Harold, at the age of 36 in April, he lands a 2-year deal to stay in the division. And they used to say this about Cecil Fielder when he was with the Tigers. He's the only Japanese import to be cheered in Motor City. Well, there's a Japanese import coming in, and Kenta Maeda hopes to, just provide some more innings and some more flexibility and length to a Detroit rotation that's been ravaged by injury over the last few years. They built their club around young starting pitching, yet between Matt Manning, Casey Mize, and Tarek Skubal, they just haven't had the health that they thought they'd have with their kind of young core of star arms.
Well, I like the word flexibility. When I looked at Kenta Maeda, I don't really look at him as one of these guys who's going to go real deep in games. He'll give you 5-6 innings, 7 innings one time last year in the 20 starts. But he's versatile. When he was, the way they used him before in the postseason, out of the pen, different things like that, he can do a lot of different stuff for you. That's where I like him the most. I'm sure they want him as a starter, maybe give them some length and some stability. That's what's the young pitchers need stability. And I think we're at a place in the game now where what Texas did and what Houston has done is showing us that you have to have length in the starting pitching. Mm-hmm. This little opener, those little cute things that we've done, that doesn't work over the course of a sustainable 162-game season.
Right.
And if you want to win the postseason, that doesn't happen.
Bring in some horses.
Yeah.
Well, you have to figure they're a little bit more nimble financially now with the Miguel Cabrera deal finally off the books. Finally should have happened years ago, but he wanted to stick around, so they had to pay him. They had to pay that dead money for him to stay there. There were so many problems with the Tigers the last few years. Bringing in, one veteran swingman is not going to fix all this because I think there's more. But I think they have the canvas to go fix a lot of this stuff. Javi Baez has to be better, right? He regressed the last 2 years.
Yeah.
They have some money to spend now that Cabrera's gone, and I think they're going to probably add to that lineup as well. They had a couple things that happened that were really nice. I think Riley Green's a star. Yeah. Kerry Carpenter had a really nice year establishing himself.
Torkelson really showed up.
And Torkelson after the break was really good.
Yeah.
I'd be optimistic.
I'd take Javi Baez, move him to second base, and just leave him alone. I think that's short, too much responsibility, too many things he expected to do. He was incredible at second base. Just leave him at second. And that's it. Let's go figure out somebody to play short, catch the ball for me. Javi's going to be way more productive. Now you got a right side of the infield with him and Torkelson. I can count on every day. There's 162. That's taken care of.
I might
Let's figure out the rest.
We're going to do this later. I might earmark the Tigers as kind of my sleeper this offseason. They could really change the calculus in that division. All right, there were
come up with those sleeper teams.
There were some more moves over the weekend.
Make your move, buddy.
Oh yeah, Bobby.
Make your move.
You know who made another move? Jerry Dipoto. Shocker that the Seattle Mariners executed a trade, sending Eugenio Suarez to the Diamondbacks for a hard-throwing right-handed reliever and a guy who has, for the most part, been a backup catcher in his major league career. That's Seby Zavala. This one's interesting, too, because with Suarez, you know you're getting the pop. 22 homers, 96 RBIs last year, but he has led the American League in strikeouts in each of the last couple of seasons. So, you know, he's that feast or famine bat that you can live with a couple of guys like that in your lineup, and the Diamondbacks needed a little pop. Eyeballing this, who do you think wins initially? Who wins the trade right now?
I think it's good for both. I think it was time for – you can't have that hole in the Seattle lineup. You know, I know he was somewhat of a production, but with Arizona, the style they play, with all the guys running, putting balls in play, stuff like that, he'll be really good fit for Arizona.
I think so, too.
I think it's going to be a nice fit for him.
Yeah, me too.
And I think the Mariners, it just gives you more flexibility to be able to go do something else. Jerry's always got something up his sleeve. He makes a ton of moves, but some of them work out pretty nice. And then you go, what are you doing? You're making another one on top of this one?
Yeah.
That's the frustrating thing when it comes with Jerry. But I think he really reads the room well. I think this is a good move at the time it needs to be made. But it's the next one you worry about. What's he going to do? Are we going to flip J.P. Crawford? You know, what's going to happen here?
Well, he is active.
Those
we know
are the
that.
things.
And he's been active with the Diamondbacks of late, too, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
They pulled off Mitch Haniger years ago. Remember that move?
Oh, gosh, you're going even back to that. Yeah, for sure. So there's a little trade history there. Suarez, by the way, entering the final year of a 7-season contract worth $66 million. So only one more year of freight left on the deal. That makes it an even more appealing buy for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Yeah. All right, so of those moves, and that's all stuff that is happened or going to happen today in the case of Sonny Gray. There was some smoke over the weekend, and this is, I don't know if this is real or not. I'm not sure.
My wife smoked.
No.
So that makes me smoke.
Not that kind of smoke, D-Row. Smoke in Toronto that maybe we're going to have a deal involving Bo Bichette. Can you imagine this? Is this real?
I couldn't. I was surprised to hear that as real, and then you guys were talking about it early this morning again, and I'm a little surprised because it took a lot to get Bo to lock up that contract. And honestly, having watched the Blue Jays every day, early work, he's the glue. Bo's the one that gets those guys together. Like right now, the offseason, he'll have guys stay with him at his house. They'll work out together. He's the centerpiece of that organization as far as work ethic, guys that come into the organization, all that. I just can't see. This is a true homegrown talent.
Yeah.